All right,
All right,
so
we're getting
welcome
into it
to
now.
a nameless soul circle jerk. This is Paul Washinsky, and then Anek is gonna join in a little bit to get on the action.
Yeah.
So, what are we hating on today?
Oh man, dude, honestly, there's just so much. This has been a very hateful year. It's kind of like fucked with my health a little bit, dude. Like my whole stomach, I've been having issues this whole time because I've just been getting so angry. So why don't we start about with like maybe things that I'm grateful for? Like I really love gambling now. I really love nicotine. Thanks to your footy talk, I've been winning some money. Some
Selfless
weeks you're wrong,
plug.
some weeks you're right. Yeah, yeah. Oh, Footy Talk's been killing it, dude, with all these picks. And I'm not gonna lie, man. Like, I think this could be a new addiction for me.
Dude,
And
that's
like,
great.
it's not bad for your health.
Yeah.
It's bad for your finances, but not because of you guys, because I'm winning. So
Dude,
gambling is a very good
honestly,
addiction.
with gambling addictions, just because like that's the as you talked about, that's the one addiction that like I've really had. Like drugs, I've never been addicted to. Like
Yeah.
I'll actually tell a story in a second about that. But like that he doesn't believe, but this is 100% true. But like gambling, I literally after like a couple months was up at night at like 2 o'clock in the morning watching like Indian badminton and like gambling on that. That's
Oh,
how bad it got for me at one point. But yeah, no, I mean, even with drugs, I never got addicted. Like when I was in Colombia, I did it for like 2 weeks straight, and then like I left, and I had no fucking relapse, nothing. I didn't even like yell at anybody, which is like typically what you do. But
yeah.
gambling, that was one thing that just kind of grabbed a hold of me. It was just like, sorry, you're doing this.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice dopamine hit. I think that's what life is. It's just a series of highs that you just end up chasing until you crash into a bottomless pit of despair, which I've never done
Yeah.
because I still do blow. No, no, I've never done
Yeah.
that. But but basically, like I've been kind of just like it's been a very hateful year. Like now that the election cycle is, oh, dude, we've been missing a lot of fucking shit, man. I think it's
Yeah, we
been a
have
while
been.
since we've done our last Haterade,
It's been a
but
few
like
months.
I am gonna try to make this a more positive year for me. Like I actually ended up spending Christmas by myself, and then it made me realize, like, man, I think my number one problem in life is other people. And then I'm like, fuck, dude, this is like one of the best Christmases I've had. All these other fucking boomers and Gen Z people are getting into it about politics at the table. And then I
Dude,
just kind of had a very nice chill day.
can I tell you something about that? Because like that's actually like really profound, but like I don't think in the way that you realize. In
Okay.
that like a lot of our unhappiness, this is a real belief of mine. A lot of our unhappiness comes from the people around us, not as
Yeah.
an inherent thing, but just because like I think a lot of this has to do with like social media because like it used to be the situation and the internet. It used to be a situation that you kind of had to conform your personality to the people around you, but now you're kind of
Yeah.
able to be more of yourself. And if that person does not fit in the right way with the people around you, you're gonna be fucking miserable. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think that, and like for me, like literally since I left the United States a year and a half ago and was able to choose, like really choose who I'm with around, because like like for example, like when you're living in like SF or something, right? Like one,
Yeah.
you have to see your coworkers, but two, like it's really difficult to like find a new clique. Your clique is kind of like the first people you meet, and then like you grow your friend group from there. But it's all kind of derivative off of that. Whereas like traveling, I was able to just like find new people, and like I'm now surrounded by people who I just like a lot more in my life. And I'm just this year has been a year, honestly. Like we do Haterade, but like this year's been a year of fucking love for me, man. I've been on cloud
Really?
nine all year, like, and honestly, it's just changing the people you're around. So like if people watching this. First of all, you shouldn't take any life advice from me or VJ. We're fucking idiots. But you
Or
know,
Nameless Soul, actually.
sorry, nameless soul. But like, if you are gonna take something from me, it's that like, if you're unhappy in life, I think you should just change your surroundings. Go to a new place, do a new thing, and you might find that community or whatever that is that you're looking for. You know what I mean? But like, just staying in unhappiness for me is like that just seems silly. You know. So
That's
you're an
that's very
idiot.
spot on with like, yeah, yeah. I've been in it. No, this actually hasn't been one of my best years, I would say. I've made a lot of new friends this year, and like most of them are really cool. This group of people that I hang out with. but then they just hang out with these pieces of shit. These goddamn pieces of shit, man. It's these like fucking short men and fat women. I think that in America, the two most insecure groups of people that just kind of get together. And the short men are pissed about getting passed over by women. The
Yeah,
fat, and then look, so here's my theory about, okay, fuck, dude. I wanted to not be flagrant in
go
this,
for
but
it.
now it's all coming out. This
Go
is
for it.
this is my therapy session. So
Speak. Preach.
I think fat women in the past, when we were kids,
And
like
old
used to
women,
be
by
like,
the way.
yes, but now they're one and the same at my age of
Yeah.
30. So I think back in the day, they used to be like, they kind of got bullied a lot more. They had more compassion. They were kind of the nice, kind people. And like, I felt for them really. And now in our 30s, like, it seems like these fat women are just like, wait, like I'm still getting treated like shit. Or they used to be hot and now they're fat. And I think they're just very, very bitter. And I can think of a few women that I've now been hanging out with, not even women that I've slept with, but just I've just been letting these people get to me. They just talk so much shit. And I'm like, damn, I could have just fucking destroyed you, man. I could have destroyed you. But
So,
I held it in. I hope.
this actually reminds me of something that I've been thinking about a lot recently, which is the book 1984. It's
Love the book.
it's funny because like I
Hate
think
communism.
exactly, most people think that it's a story about totalitarianism and like government overreach, which it is, but really like what that book is about. I've read it like a bunch of times now. I actually, if anyone wants a really good book, also Homage to Catalonia, I think that's the name of it. It's basically like
I'm gonna type it.
he wrote 1984 because he was pissed off at the communists, and Homage to
Mhm.
Catalonia is literally like the experience with those communists, like that he wrote before
Oh,
1984. So it's kind of like the source material for that. You know what I mean? And so
oh
like
wow.
it's kind of like imagine like J.R.R. Tolkien like wrote a book about his experience in World War One. You know what I mean? And like that's the source material for like Lord of the Rings, is that type of thing,
Lord of
right?
the Rings.
And like one thing that like I think a lot of people kind of miss about 1984 is that it's fundamentally a love story, right? Like
Oh
literally like if you think
shit.
about it, the whole story is actually like it really is like a dark love story, right? And the reason why I think is because what totalitarians hate is love. They hate human relationships, they hate families. And the
Damn,
reason
you gotta explain
why,
that.
what?
You have to explain more about that.
Yeah, so the reason why is because exactly those short men and those fat women. Because people who aren't getting any, people who are unhappy with their lives are the most. I'm guessing the bullshit that they talk about with you is politics or social issues or anything like that. Because
And they
if
try to be woke. They try to be woke.
exactly.
It's New
If you're
York City
pissed off in
liberal
your
shit.
life, and by the way, like there was a time in my life where I was really into politics, and looking back on it, I'm like, man, I was actually just pissed off about a lot of shit in my life, and it like it wasn't politics, but like if you have this just
Yeah.
anger in your stomach and you can't articulate what it is, and somebody comes to you and says, no, it's the right wing, no, it's the left wing, no, it's these people, no, it's that people, then you latch on to that. And I think that that's why these people are so insufferable is because politics has given them an ability to become bullies, to become the bullies who
Oh
bully
yeah.
them of other people. You know what I mean?
No, I completely agree. That's why, like, all this family tension. Like, I have two stories from when I went out to Christmas with my friends yesterday, and they were telling me, like, damn, like everyone was just getting into it about politics. I'm like, that's probably because you have a lot of deeper issues in your family, and then it's coming through as in, like, oh, Trump is a fucking devil. Oh, Kamala is a communist whore. Like, I don't know, dude. And so,
Like I also think that part of that's intentional. Like you saw a
mhm,
huge media blitz from the left, but you've also seen this from the right before. I'm not saying it's just a left issue, but like it is more of a
yeah,
left issue than a right issue, I think. But like you've seen a media blitz.
currently,
Yeah, you've seen a media blitz before Christmas, before Thanksgiving. Why you shouldn't invite your family? You know, why you shouldn't invite that Trump supporter? Like you've seen this. It's a deliberate thing by people to get people to attack their family, to destroy their own family, their own connections. Because once you do that, the only thing you have left is the state. You know what I mean? Like when you don't have a loving support system, all you have is the party, right? And that's
dude, this some serious Illuminati deep state type shit that you're preaching.
I mean, like I just want to say one thing. I don't think so. It's like one thing that was nice about 1984 is that it set it up as a plan, to make you understand it better. But like, I don't think any of this stuff is a plan. I don't think Kamala Harris is sitting down at a table saying this is how we do this. I just think that like the types of people who are in politics are toxic, manipulative people, and toxic,
Yes.
manipulative people use toxic, manipulative tactics. And
Manipulative.
yeah, and if you think about like people who are like control freaks or in abusive relationships, what's the first thing that an abuser in an abusive relationship does? They cut that person off from their family. And they do that
Oh,
because they don't want you to have that like level set. They don't want someone looking at the scars on your face and saying like, "Hey, what's up with that?" If you're only with them, then they're able to do that type of stuff. So I just think that like you have this system where like you have the most toxic, insane, horrible people dictating how the rest of us think about each other. It's fucked up.
like to want to get into politics and have power over other people, I think you need some level of like sociopathy or just and narcissism to think that you're worthy to rule over and have dominion over a large group of people. And
I
like then they kind of
oh sorry, continue.
no, you go first.
I mean, so like I used to work in politics, and I think it's even like more sad than that. It's just like those A+ striver kids. It's those fucking like teacher's pet types of people. You know what I mean? Who
Yeah.
like and like it's
Who were like, yo, hey, teacher, you didn't collect the homework today. And everyone was like, yo, shut the fuck up, Greg. And then now Greg ends up fucking getting into politics. I'm like, yo, I don't want to do my homework, you dickhead. God damn.
exactly. And the thing is, Greg thinks he's smart, but he's really just a fucking box checker. He's really just a fucking like follower. You know what I mean? He's not smart. He's just good at if you give him a roadmap following it. Well, everyone else is just like, I don't know, I
Yeah.
don't really want to do this fucking bullshit.
Yeah. There's a difference like entrepreneurial intelligence is very different than like I know friends that like they'll go into like McKinsey and Bain and then they'll just absolutely crush it. But then if you ask them to think of an original idea themselves, they're like, oh wait, but what is my boss telling me? And I'm like, no, you ain't got no boss. Come up with something.
Yeah.
So I respect entrepreneurs more in that reason. Maybe someday I'll become one. I'm like this year I was bitching a lot, but I have some plans for the future. Next year I think is going to be a very good year.
I mean I think we need middle managers like a lot of people like romanticize this society where like everything is a small business, but like we need like Coca-Colas, we need IBMs, we need
Yeah.
Googles. I have nothing but disdain for the people who work at these companies, but like we do need them, we do
Mhm.
need middle managers. Like I think people go a little bit too hard on like corporate America because it's like at the end of the day, like having corporations, having large corporations, having these types of things, it is good for our society. Like you do want a modicum of stability in our society. The problem is when there's like
Yeah.
too much stability, where like people
Mhm.
get stifled. That's the issue. But like all to say, I have no problem with people working at McKinsey. It's just don't think that you can start a company because you fucking can't.
Yeah. Like I think most of my bitching about McKinsey just now is because like some people I know that work there just think they're such hot shit. And I'm like, yeah, your job is going into a fucking failing business and then firing 80% of the people and then selling the company for parts. So like what is really so great about that? To think that you're such hot shit and you're fucking fat woman. I think my anger is directed towards a few particular people, as you can see.
Yeah,
But we're
dude.
hating now.
Dude, I honestly like I feel I know people and like I'm completely fine with people labeling me passport bro, but like I feel so bad for dudes dating in America, man. Like it fucking sucks. It fucking sucks, man. It fucking
No,
sucks.
and like and like there's for sure good women out there. I have some short man friends that are like trying to tell me that like oh like everyone's just like stupid liberal, everyone's boring and all that. And I'm like no, like I met fucking good women though. Like I'm holding out hope. Seems like you figured it all out, bro. Like well you had to go to Paraguay in order to figure out dating, I guess.
Yeah, I
But
guess so. I mean, like, I think one of my superpowers, and I mean, there are downsides to this, of course, and like, I'm pretty sure the downsides to this for me, but like, one of my superpowers is I really do not give a shit what other people think.
yeah,
Like for me, the idea of me. So, like the number one predictor of happiness in life is a happy marriage, right? There's been like tons of studies
Oh
that show
yeah,
this. It's like 10 to 20 times more predictive than any other factor in your life. Even just having a marriage, you're having a happy career, having an income. Happy marriage is the number one predictor, right? So for me, it makes no fucking
yeah,
sense. Like for someone to be like, oh yeah, you had to go to Paraguay, and I'm just like, sure. But I did, and I'm happy, and you're with a fucking, 37-year-old who slept with 150 different dudes. So, I mean, I'm not saying you
yeah. Like,
specifically. I'm saying that the royal you.
oh no, dude, that's what you just said. Turned me on. I love 37-year-old hoes. Okay,
Here's the thing: you've been
no,
psyoped. I've said this to you many times. You've been psyoped.
yeah,
You've
with the milfs.
no, 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 no. What I think has happened to you is that you
Yeah,
are you're in this blue bubble, and you are on the
yep,
right side of the blue bubble, but you don't realize that the right side of the blue bubble is still like the left side of just like any normal human being. But like if
yeah.
you were in normal human interactions, you would be in the normal, but you're just surrounded by these fucking lunatics.
Yeah, yeah. And look, the people that I stand by are all fucking amazing. Like I can't
Yeah.
complain. This what you said about like not caring what other people think. For some reason, I actually did this year. So like something changed in me, dude. Like maybe like parental pressure about not being married and like also just being stuck at a fucking dead end job. It just made me feel shitty. And then like the second someone tries to be a cunt, I'm like, wait, no, why are you being a fucking cunt? And also I'm lifting weights all the time. My testosterone's through the roof, dude. Like I think there's a lot of things at play here. Okay.
Yeah. No, yeah,
So
I mean, like when people like try to like judge you for your decisions, they're just judging themselves, really, in my opinion.
yeah.
Like they have their own issues that they're figuring. I've never met like a really happy person who's like shit talking someone else's decision. Do you know what I mean? Or even making this more specific to domains, right? Like I've never met like a really like rich and successful person who is like shit talking someone's career choices or like what they're doing, or like shit talking like a
Yeah.
janitor or something, because it's like they have nothing to prove. You know what I mean? I've never somebody I know some people who are like in really happy. So it's funny. I was actually talking to my friend who like in my life I don't have like specific people I look up to for everything. I have people I look up to for
Yeah.
specific qualities, and like I have three or four
Same.
people who I'm like these people are incredibly happy, and I'm like I'm just gonna take their advice on shit. And I was talking to one of the guys, and he was like, because like I was with this girl a long time ago who kind of wanted to get like married really quick. I was like, I don't know, like 3 months seems
Wait, Latina?
aggressive. What?
Latina?
No. Uh, this is this was this was years ago, and like
Oh, okay.
I was talking to him about it, and he was just like, "Yeah, man. I mean, my cousin met a girl for 3 weeks and he got married, and he's perfectly happy. Like, and I was like, oh, fuck,
Yeah.
man, you're right. And he just doesn't have those barriers because he's fucking happy. You know what I mean? He's not gonna fucking shit talk shit. So I don't know the point of what I was saying, but just like
No, no, dude. This is a therapy session, except where we both have normal levels of testosterone, not like most people that go to therapy.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. You said you wanted to shit talk therapy.
Okay. Oh my God, dude. Look, I've legit like I have been through a lot this year, just like in terms of family drama. It's just like no. Okay, what can I say? All right, let me think so as to not expose people. This one idiot was basically shit talking someone that I know, and then this idiot is a therapist, and then she was basically like, she had a problem with like the person, my friend or a family member, we'll see. She's like, she had a problem with the fact that I was marrying a white man. And then I'm like, oh, okay. Like, what did she say that led you to believe it? She's like, I don't know. I just kind of have women's intuition. I have an idea of how she felt. We just got this other thing. I'm like, do you have any physical fucking examples or fucking evidence or any
Yeah.
fucking details? No, don't get stuck on the details. The details aren't important. You need to focus on the bigger picture. I'm like, no, the details are the most fucking important thing
Yeah. The
ever.
details of this
Actually.
situation are very important.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I
And
mean,
then
oh, sorry, continue.
this
Go
is how
ahead.
these therapists talk, though. It's just that, like, not like I hate this stupid Andrew Tate facts, no feelings kind of shit. But like, Now I'm seeing people really fucking do that. And like, I'm just like, if you're gonna have like a point, and I even said to her, like, if you argue this in a court of law, like, you would have no basis to make your claim that this person thinks that you have a problem of that you're dating a white guy. And she's like, yeah, but we're not in a court of law. I'm just trying to tell you my truth. And like, she's saying all these therapy buzzwords, dude. And this is kind of like a serious story that may or may not involve my family. And then I just heard this, and then I lost my temper too. I was just like, this is this what therapy is teaching people, how to just not just only articulate with feelings and not provide any evidence behind things. And she's not the only person I know that's kind of like that nowadays.
I think one thing that's important to remember is that everything in life is a business, right? And people
Is
have
a business.
customers. Yeah. And like a therapist has a customer, right? And like
Yeah.
the actual way that you help people in life, 95% of the time, is to tell them shit they don't want to hear, right? Like that is the way you help people, right? But the
That's why
problem,
I love my parents, actually.
yeah.
They were always that.
The problem though is that if you're a therapist and you tell somebody what they don't want to hear, they're going to fire you, right? Like they're not going to come
Mhm.
back, right? Because it's an uncomfortable, unhappy experience to be constantly told. Like who would pay for that? You know what I mean? There are
Yeah.
people like who would pay to like have your parents for like an hour every week? You know what I mean? Like nobody would do that, right? And
Yeah, I
so
think these people are just getting everything that they want validated when they go to
exactly.
therapy. And it's trickling through in our society. And now I'm starting to see it. And I was raised by parents that really told me what they think. And now I'm just like, wait, what the fuck? How does
And
no one tell you that you sound like a fucking idiot? Because I heard that my whole life.
yeah, I was thinking if I got a text from a neck, but like
Oh, yeah. Oh, what a bitch, dude.
he'll join here. I'm gonna send him. But one nice thing about our
Because
ch
I want to hear next stories from Christmas, dude. I'm actually very excited.
can you text him?
Yeah, I'm saying Anek joined the pod. Uh,
So I saw
yeah, dude.
something that was like a girl who was like she was like my boyfriend started I told my boyfriend to go to therapy and now he's like weaponizing therapy speak against me and I'm like
Yeah.
you mean he's doing the thing you want him to do, which is to explain how he's feeling about things? Because here's the thing, right? It's either one of two options, right? Either therapy is a thing that you go to get psychological tricks to manipulate people around you, or it's a way
Mhm.
to actually like grow as a person. So if you're saying
Yeah.
that this person went to therapy and now they're manipulating you, then you're admitting that the only reason why you went to therapy in the first place is so that you can learn to manipulate other people, right? Like
Yep.
that's the inherent thing that you are agreeing to. And like I mean again like back to the idea of like the people I look up to for happiness, none of them have ever gone to therapy. Not once in their life. I mean, if you ask them if
Mhm.
they've ever gone to therapy, they would laugh in your fucking face. And all the most miserable people I know have gone to therapy.
Yes. Same here, dude. Oh my God. This self-validation. So I'll continue.
Be, be, because again, like a therapist's whole point in life is to keep you coming back. Just like every other business in life. I actually used to do consulting work for a chiropractic like consulting company. So I would like help them
Yeah.
with like their outbound like outreach and stuff.
I have a
And
bad back, so I respect that.
and like the thing is like the chiropractic consulting company was like the entire point of it, the entire reason why chiropractors showed up was to learn how to get a patient to go from 3 visits to 10 visits, right?
Oh, damn.
Which like by the way, if you actually believe in chiropractic isn't like a bad thing. You're like, hey, I want to help this person more, right? But like
Yeah.
the whole point of any profession is to get your customer to keep on coming back. And so the therapist one does toxic validations, but I also think two, therapists actively make their clients more miserable. Because the more miserable you are, the more you need therapy. It really
Yeah,
is
that's
true,
true.
right?
Yeah.
If you went to a therapist and you went in an hour later, all of your problems were solved, you would never come back, right? Like you never come back, and they
This
would lose
sounds
out
like
on
the
money.
pharmaceutical industry where they don't provide cures, they abate symptoms so that you have
Yeah.
to keep coming back for the rest of your life.
I actually have a hot take on this that might actually get this video taken down, but
Oh, okay. Dude,
we
like honestly, I've been putting out a lot of business right now, so that wouldn't be the worst thing. What's your hot take
we can cut it out. Like one of my hot
about the
takes,
pharmaceutical industry?
yeah, is that I think that I don't think it's a malicious thing. I don't think it's done maliciously, but I think that there is an inherent incentive for doctors who are performing sex reassignment surgeries or gender affirming care to
Oh
push for that
shit.
type of care because once that person gets the care, they're going to need to get pills from you for the rest of their life.
Yo, bro, you're gonna get this shit taken down with that shit.
I'm definitely get this shit taken down, but like it's like that's my feeling about it. Like and by the way, just a personal anecdote. So I
Yeah.
actually have bad ADHD. I actually do need to get like those types of drugs. I actually do have a need, right? But
Like
like
Adderall or whatever.
yeah, like a friend of ours, let's not name names, but like he recommended me to a doctor, right? And I went to the doctor, and let me tell you, so Adderall for people who don't know is basically cocaine. Like it really is cocaine.
It's basically meth, actually.
Yeah,
It's
like it's
very
basically
simple meth.
yeah, and like getting legalized meth was one of the easiest things I've done in my life.
Yeah.
I'm putting it up against tying my shoe. I'm taking it like it was easier than taking a shit, harder than tying my shoe. Somewhere in that spectrum. Like literally like if you go online and you research like the disease for 5 minutes, you can get any drug prescribed to you in the United States. And the
Mhm.
reason is very simple because once I got that drug prescribed to me, I needed to come back to that doctor once a month for a checkup appointment to get my prescription refilled. And that once a
Okay.
month was worth $100 to him. And so that
Oh
doctor,
man.
you're sitting there and you're like doing a test to make sure the person needs your drug. And if this person passes
Yeah.
the test, you now added $1,000 to your annual revenue. Would you not pass this person? like
Yeah. So you're saying the system incentivizes people to overprescribe shit too?
100%, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Because and I think there's a thing where like there's a quote about this that phrases it way better than I say. Like you can never get somebody to do something that's against their material interests. Basically, like
Mhm.
when there's money to be made on something, you will rationalize yourself as to why that thing is a good thing, right? And I think that's what happens with therapy. It's like you're rationalizing, oh, it's a process, oh, it's this, and this. No, you're just fucking scamming rich white kids out of their money, which good for you. Like you're scamming
Yeah.
rich white kids and wives of financiers on Wall Street. That is who you're scamming, and I
Dude,
don't really
black
care that
people
much.
don't go to therapy. And
I
I'm
people
like,
don't know
yo,
therapy.
black people go through so much more fucking shit and Latinos too.
Has
And I don't know.
anybody in your family ever been to therapy?
No, 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 no.
No one in my
It's just
family's ever been to therapy. like,
yeah, I did go as we've discussed earlier in the year, just because I was like I lost the bet and I had to do it.
yeah,
And like now I'm just so vehemently against it. One thing that I will do, because I actually people that I respect do this, is I think I'm gonna start meditating.
I'll
And
do
that's
that.
like that brings me back to my roots. Yeah. I
Can
think that's a good thing to do.
I say one last thing before we go into meditation?
Yeah.
My family personally, not me, people in my family, I think have gone through more shit than any other human beings on planet Earth. Like my family ranks in the top 99.999999999% of peoples who have gone through shit. And so if they
Is this like
haven't gone to
Holocaust shit?
therapy, Holocaust shit, my grandmother was in fucking Siberia at age 5. Like her
Oh,
father was executed in front of her. Like literally, which by the way, like
dude.
it's kind of like zooming out on it, it's kind of like a badass thing. But at the same
Yeah.
time, it's really fucking Trump. No, that's when she was 9. Like it's just like
Oh,
you.
that's a slightly better than 5-year-old execution.
By the way, she is also the happiest person you'll ever meet. Literally the happiest
Yeah.
person. And the thing I've noticed is like the people again, like having a lot of people in families gone through horrible trauma. Like those people are way fucking happier than the fucking rich kids from Scarsdale. Like
Oh,
I actually like I had a roommate who was a rich kid from Scarsdale who wanted to be a director, and we wanted to write a movie about like World War II and like kind of Holocaust adjacent, right? And he was like talking to me about it. And he was just like, yeah, so like, and he was like really fucked up person, like really miserable, and he was like, yeah, so like. How miserable is your grandfather? I'm like, my grandfather, I've never seen my grandfather not smile. Literally, I've never seen
yeah.
that man. This man was tortured for 4 years. I've never seen him not smile. Um, Partly because he's not being tortured
And
anymore.
Polish people don't smile,
Yeah,
right? They
most
never
people don't
smile.
smile. Dude, I visited my grandmother and I was like looking through like my family photos, and there's not a single one I saw of anybody smiling, except well, my
Oh,
grandfather.
damn. Yeah. And dude, my grandpa too. My grandpa actually just died like a couple weeks ago, RIP.
Oh,
And like
sorry
he
about
was just
that.
like the chill, drinking every fucking day. He lived to be like 96 years old and then like never fucking like had a bad thing to say about anyone, man. And
Dude,
I think
people.
now
Oh, sorry, continue.
continue. No, you first, you first.
Oh, I was just gonna add to that, like people in Latin America, man, and it's part of the reason I love the fucking place, are so much fucking happier. Like they're so much poorer, their prospects are so much
Well,
less,
they
but
don't
they're so much
work. You,
happier.
as you said, they
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
work culture not the same
The
in
work culture
America?
is very different. It is very different.
Yeah, I got you, man.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like, I think this is one thing that like traveling has kind of taught me. It's kind of weird because like you kind of have this trope of somebody who like leaves to travel the world and becomes like more enlightened of different cultures, becomes less racist. Traveling has made me more racist, I'd say. Like,
Well, you have more
like
ammo because you've learned so much more.
it's more of like for example, like there's this thinking that like the reason why Latin America is poor is because like of like exploitation or whatever. It's like no, it's because people don't work. Like the people.
I mean, dude, like there's been a decent amount of dictatorships all over Latin America, right? That I'm sure, like, dude, Venezuela, come on, are you gonna blame that on the people?
They voted for it.
Wait, for Chavez and whatever the next guy's name is?
Yeah,
Maduro, right?
they voted for it.
I mean, is it really voting? Okay, so this is just like American propaganda and shit. Okay, wait, can I ask you a question since you're knowledgeable? So my dad was trying to tell me that like Saddam Hussein, I already looked this up. He was like a secular leader, right?
Yeah.
And he was trying to make things like more modern and more and like obviously I think his children committed a lot of atrocities and I'm sure he did too. But then America just like got him the fuck out of there and then like fucking ISIS took over and all these other terrible things. And so like what are your thoughts on Saddam Hussein? Let's just go with that.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, it's kind of weird because, like, we've been talking about, like, my shift to the right, and, like, I still can't get I still, well, like, there are a lot of things I've kind of changed my positions on, but, like, there's one thing that I just can't, which is, like, the Iraq War. Like, the more and
Yeah,
more, like, I know
100%.
about it, the more, and then you're completely right. Like Saddam Hussein was a secular leader. He was a piece of shit, but, like, the thing about that part of the world, man, is you got to be a piece of shit. And I think this is something people don't get. Like, I think people in America have this conception that other people in the world are just the same as them, but just in different places.
Mhm.
And like, it's not true. And like, I don't think it's a I don't think it's like a genes thing. I think it's just clearly a culture thing. Like, I think if you took like a Middle Eastern child, like a newborn, and flew them to America to be raised by an American family, they would be
Yeah.
perfectly American, right? But like
Yep.
growing up in that place, like the people just like it, it's kind of like I think the best example is like those kids who I mean this might have even been you who like came from like very strict households growing up and then go
Yeah.
to college and then become instant drug addicts.
Yeah. Yo, wait, it hits a little close to home. I'm not gonna lie.
Because it's like you finally have freedom, so you just go overboard, right? And I think
Yeah.
that's kind of what happens. And like we can get into a larger discussion of immigration a little bit later, but like that's the
We'll
thing.
get into it.
That's the thing about that culture is it's so domineering that like you know the people who
You
leave just
needed
feel fucking
someone to
crazy.
come in there and completely disrupt the status quo. I don't want to defend fucking Saddam Hussein, okay? This is like
No,
I can't really defend Iraq War either.
I'm just saying you need secularization slowly there. It needs to be a slow,
Yeah,
and you need to build up civic institutions. And this is one thing, again, we're talking about immigration in Europe a little bit later, but like, we obviously have been talking about this, and like, I have some fuck it, I have some extreme views on it, and some people have called me Islamophobic, but like I should be clear, I'm not actually Islamophobic at all. Like I've lived in Morocco for a month. I've lived in Indonesia. I mean, granted, it's in the fucking Bali, which is not really Indonesia, but like I've lived in the Muslim area
dude,
of,
that is not Indonesia,
yeah.
bro.
But
That is the
I've
most white people I've ever seen.
that's true. More white people than fucking Argentina. But I have lived in the Muslim area of Mumbai, which is really fucking Muslim, and
Oh, damn.
um I have no problem with Islam. It's just once you go to these places, you kind of understand that like the cultures are just not congruent. At least not
Mhm.
immediately. You know what I mean? Like you can't just take a large group of people. I actually was laughing about something. It was kind of serendipitous. Like while I was in the Malaysia airport, and there was like an online like thing to try to re-cancel Tucker Carlson at the time, and somebody pulled
Oh,
up an old quote
King
of
Tut.
his where he said on like some talk show, he was just like, yeah, people in Iraq, they don't use toilet paper, and they eat with their hands, or something like that, or like they squat while they poop, and they eat with their hands, right? And it was funny because there was this whole like left wing outrage, like he's so racist, he's so racist. I was in Malaysia. I've never been to Iraq, but I was in Malaysia, and I was like, I mean, this is accurate about Malaysia. Like people swallow when they poop.
Yeah.
Like you go to the
Oh,
Malaysian
dude, in
airport,
India too.
and half the toilets are American toilets, half the toilets are squat poop toilets. It's just part of the
Yeah.
culture. You know what I
Squatting
mean?
is healthier. It makes it easier to shit technically if you squat, actually.
I've heard that. I've also like there are those bum guns everywhere, and then those are in India too.
Yeah.
But I've never been a big fan of those. Like, because I just fucking my ass gets all wet, and I just feel weird walking around with a wet ass. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, yeah. Well, if you use that and then you also have toilet paper to dry it out, I think it's the most ideal situation, actually.
but
Because I didn't get the buy-in until you can dry your ass too.
I actually want to talk about meditation for a second, but I do want to tell something that like I don't think is indicative of anything. I think it's just a funny coincidence. So like
Yeah.
the one country whose Airbnb had a broken shower was India for me. And I found it so funny that I was like the one country. And so I literally didn't take a shower. So I was in India for 3 weeks. My first week and a half,
Dude,
I didn't really take a shower. I just kind of scrubbed. I literally started getting eczema. And by the way, anyone's listening to this, if you have eczema, you need a fucking shower. Because I take 2 showers a day, and I've never had eczema. The 1 week where I didn't shower, I had eczema. If you have eczema, you don't
yeah.
shower. But anyway, I finally was just like, fuck this, I can't do this anymore. Because again, I shower like 1 to 2 times a day, and so I literally got a hotel
Same, yeah.
room just to take a shower. I was in that shower for like 45 minutes. It was one of the best. It was the best shower I've had in my life. But anyway, I'm not. It's not indicative of
Oh,
anything.
fuck.
I think it's just a funny coincidence that the one country was India.
Look, it's okay to say that it's more than a coincidence, all right? When I had a recent story, like most Indians in America, like, okay, a lot of Indians smell good. It's just that you get one, and then I'm like, bro, you're the reason I got bullied. Like, be better. Like, you're the reason I've been getting shit when I was a kid about Indians smelling bad. And then you see the stereotype kind of like, okay, so here's a hot take. Indians smell more, but white people that smell the worst.
Yeah,
The worst. A smelly hillbilly cracker, dude.
yeah,
Or maybe I'm used to the Indian smell.
yeah, I'm willing to agree to that. I mean, so I actually don't really have a profound sense of smell. I think that's why I wasn't really bothered
Oh,
by
I have a
smelling
huge
India.
sense of smell.
So like so one of the reasons why I shower so much is because I have a terrible sense of smell. So I can't tell when I smell.
Yeah.
So I always make sure that I don't smell. But because I would hate to be
That's
the
very
smelly guy.
considerate of you.
No,
Yeah.
I just hate to be the smelly guy. You know what I mean? Like that's the worst. That's the worst
Yeah,
to be a
yeah.
smelly guy.
No, I know people that are like that. Like,
I have to say though,
how do we?
oh, I do want to talk about meditation for a second. Just to get
No,
back to
no, no.
that.
Fuck meditation. I actually wanted to
Okay.
get into. I wanted to go
Indians?
back to fucking no to how like the Islamic world got fucked. Do you know about the
Oh.
whole Ayatollah thing and the revolution in Iran? And there used to be like a bunch of like. There's a. Did you ever see that photo with like a bunch of like hot girls studying science in like short skirts in
So
Iran? And I
so
think. Oh,
I actually need to make a plug because I had a whole video about this. So I'll put it in the
oh
details.
shit.
People watch that, but continue.
So I mean, I'm just saying, like, that was another like it seemed like was that in the 70s where the
1979.
Ayatollah was put in? Was that like something Reza? Mohammed Reza or something was the initial ruler, and I think he was trying to make everything more modern. He was trying to like be a little bit more progressive. And then was he the Shah or no? Because
So
I've also had cab drivers and other people talk to me about the Shah of Iran, and like people really, really like this guy. And then this fucking Ayatollah guy came in and like fucked everything up. Is that
so
kind of what happened?
that is pretty accurate. Like, is there if I go on a soapbox? I'll time myself. I'll try to do all this in 3 minutes. Is there if I get
Yeah.
3 minutes? All right, here let me
Yeah,
time
for the
myself.
whole Iran revolution. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, so basically, like what did happen is that I'm actually make this point, but before I explain this, because this is a huge soapbox that I was on for like 5 months, like 6 months ago. Like a
Mhm.
lot of people talk about American coups in other countries, which I think is very disingenuous. Because really, what was happening in all these countries that America has had coups in is that the Soviets were supporting one side, we were supporting the other side. And when the
Yeah.
Soviet side won, it was democracy wins. And when the American side won, it is a violent coup, right? And like the reason for this is because our history is written by fucking communists. Fucking communists write our history, and like I could do a whole other spiel about the Cambodian genocide with this, but I'm not even gonna go there, which is fucking
Yeah.
detestable. But people blame. Sorry, I'm gonna talk about the Cambodian genocide for just 1 second because it really pisses me off.
Okay, Pol
So
Pot?
yeah. So people blame the United States for Pol Pot, even though the United States was the one thing stopping Pol Pot from taking power. We were the people fighting against Pol Pot. And the argument
Mhm.
against the United States is by bombing Cambodia to kill Pol Pot, we radicalized the people against the United States, which would be a really great argument if it was true, but it's not. As a result of U.S. bombing campaigns from 1969 to 1975, a total of 15,000 Cambodians joined the Khmer Rouge. Do you know how many people joined our side? 500,000.
Oh,
The,
damn.
the country had a population of 6 million. Literally, like
Yeah.
1/12 of the population joined our side during that same period. And people were like, well, it was blowback. No, it wasn't. So Saigon, which is in Vietnam, Saigon fell
Vietnam.
on April 30th, 1975. Phnom
Yeah.
Penh fell on April 15th, 1975. The reason why the Cambodian genocide happened is because we left Vietnam. And people and like anti-Vietnam
Oh.
activists don't want to take culpability for it. And like you make the argument it's not their fault, but they want to blame America. Anyway, sorry. That's a whole spiel. I'm gonna get into the Iranian Revolution right now.
Yeah,
Timer
go
off.
ahead. I
So
want to hear your take.
in 1953, there was this guy named Mohammad Mossadegh, who was, by the way, completely funded by the USSR. He had a party called the
Mm.
National Front. He won the parliamentary elections in 1951, and he became prime minister. From that time, he started instituting socialist land reforms. And it was a complete fucking disaster. Like literally, there was like
Oh.
hyperinflation. Nothing was working. The country was going to shit. Like it happens every fucking time someone tries this bullshit, right?
Mhm.
And so what happened was he basically got rid of democracy in the country. People who claim that America overthrew a democratically elected government is the same thing like claiming America overthrew a democratically elected government in Germany in 1945. Yes, there was a democratic election to put him there, but ask one person who says that, when was the next planned election in Iran? The answer is never. There was no planned election because he got rid of elections. Anyway, the United States government gave a badass named Kim Roosevelt $1 million to give to the generals in Iran who were pissed off about this, and they overthrew Mossadegh, right? This is important
Oh,
because the Shah came back into power. And basically what the Shah saw was that like the people wanted economic populism but also social liberalism, right? Basically Bernie Sanders, right? And so
yeah, yeah.
he basically ruled like that for 25 years, right? And the problem is the economy started to go to shit, right?
Oh, it
And
did. Okay.
so people started protesting against that, and then he started to crack down on those protests. So what happened was the Ayatollah Khomeini. So there were two arguments against him. The first argument was from the National Front, Mossadegh's old party, which basically said you are not taking these economic populist reforms far enough, right? And then there was a second argument from from Khomeini, which is basically like all of this is the result of Western decadence. We need to come back to you know, old,
Like Sharia type shit.
exactly. And so what happened was he was exiled and he was sent to France. And the fucking press, the fucking retards that run the New York Times did the same bullshit with him that they do with fucking Hamas, where they were like, "Oh, he's not a radical Islamist. He's just a spiritual mystic." Right? Anyway, so I'm not gonna get into all the protests, but basically the National Front and the Ayatollahs, without Khomeini, got the Shah to put in a guy. I can't believe I forgot his name. Let's just call him B. That was what his name started with. You can look it up. Who was the prime
Yeah,
minister?
wait, okay, let me look it up. Okay, wait, wait. This was you're talking about this was like 1960 when Khomeini was exiled, right? And he went to France.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because
Who was
oh, is it
the
Shapur Bakhitar?
Bakshar? Yeah, Shakur Bakshar.
Bakshar.
By the way, I
Wait,
just
wait,
crossed my
BAK.
B A K
Did you
H
pronounce it
T
right?
I A R Bakshar.
That's Bakshar?
Yeah.
That's not Bakhitar? Okay, yeah. Bro, God, I love American education.
So
American pronunciation.
I just got to my 3 minutes, but I'm just going to take a little bit more time to explain this. But basically, what happened
No,
was
go ahead.
Bakshar was a fucking retard, like the fucking retards at American college campuses who are
Yeah.
Queers for Palestine, right? This is literally, if you are a member of Queers for Palestine, literally read the history of the Islamic Revolution and see what happened to the leftists. So,
Yeah.
I might be uh, remember the dates wrong, but on January 20th, 1979, Bakshar was sorry, in November of 1978, Bakshar became prime minister. In January of 1979, January 20th, the Shah left. The Shah abdicated, and Bakshar became both the prime minister and the head of state, right? And the first thing that he did was bring Khomeini back, right? Because he was
Oh.
like, look, us and the Ayatollahs work together to get rid of him. Khomeini's the face of the revolution. Let me bring him back. Do you know how many days Bakshar lasted in his in his role after Khomeini came back?
I guess like very short amount of time.
Just 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 give me a number.
Okay, let's say a year. Let's say a year.
10 days.
Oh
In
shit,
10 days,
bro.
he was exiled. In 8 months, he was murdered. Over the course of that 8 months, all of his supporters were killed. And not just his supporters, all of the supporters of all of the other Muslim factions that supported Khomeini were killed. Because there's a bunch of
Uh,
different groups all working together, right? All of these groups were fucking murdered, right? And then Khomeini became in power. And this is the thing that fucking liberals don't understand is like these Muslims are not your friends. They're using you. They see you as a useful idiot, and the second they take power, they're gonna fucking execute you. Like this has happened before,
so
it's gonna
so
happen
wait,
again.
all of the Shahs, like the whole economic populism and like socialism, you're saying that that wasn't working initially when like it seemed like people had more freedom during that time until Khomeini came back, right?
The economy was oscillating really aggressively.
Oh,
And
okay.
like by the way, Khomeini was made the argument that he's like a puppet of the West, which is like true, but like the choices at the
Yeah.
time were be a puppet of the West or be a puppet of the East. You know what I mean? Like those were the only choices at the time, right? So yeah, I mean like his economic policies weren't working, but like there was a lot of social liberalism at the time. And people thought and like Khomeini made the argument that the problem is the social liberalism, but it wasn't. It was just like the
Yeah,
fucking economic policy. But he was making that
yeah.
argument because he wanted to install a Muslim state. And so that's what happened with Iran, and that's what England's gonna look like in 30 years, to be honest with you.
Well, all the social policies, and that's what's the point about the American election. It proved that like abortion rights and all that shit ended up not mattering as much as people not being able to fucking afford groceries.
Yeah.
And that's what ended up. Well, there's a lot of things. Also, Kamala was the worst candidate ever, which we don't want to get into that. All right, is it
I mean,
is
we
it
can.
immigration time, dude?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Let's
I mean, like,
let's do immigration. But
just
by the
because
way,
I
I
know,
don't know if you
yeah, yeah,
follow
like,
this. There was a huge immigration dust up that happened about Indians yesterday, and it's
oh,
still going on today. Do you want to start there, or do you want to
wait,
start with the
I might know what
Mexicans?
you're talking about. What is it?
Okay, so
Say it
basically,
again.
so I'll give people who are listening to this a background in case they don't know. So, Trump, I mean, his right hand man was Elon Musk, right?
Oh, this is the
And
H1B shit.
the H1-B shit, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So Elon Musk might get
So
fucking sidelined.
okay, yeah, yeah. I know about that whole issue, but like it seems like H1Bs only go to highly skilled workers, right? So adding more opportunities for H1Bs, that doesn't seem like a bad thing to me, unless people are gaming the system, which they probably are.
So what I've seen is that. So I just want to say a couple things. The first thing, and David Sachs made this point. I actually did no work today because I was literally just on. This fight was one of the most interesting fights I've seen on Twitter in a long time, and I was literally just like refreshing. But David
It's also
Sachs,
Christmas, dude. So who gives a shit?
yeah, David Sachs made this point, which is true, which is that. So first of all, there's a guy named Sriram who was nominated to be like an advisor on AI policy. His remit had
Oh,
nothing to do with
yeah.
immigration.
Okay, yeah, I think I heard about this guy too. I
Yeah.
didn't look up everything about this H1B shit. I did hear a bit about Elon getting into it though.
Yeah, so basically, but if people want to follow like a blow by blow, I've literally just been retweeting the whole thing on my fucking timeline. It's just been a lot of fun to watch this fight. But like, so the argument David Sachs made, which is true, is that Sriram has no, he's working on AI stuff. He's not working on immigration, right? So it's not
Yeah.
anything to do with that. Also, so what Sriram wanted to do, the policy that he proposed a long time ago, was not to increase H1Bs. It was to get rid of country caps. So basically, like the way it kind of works right now, I'm just pulling numbers, but like let's just like kind of go with this. Like, let's say India has a cap of 5,000, and they're obviously using all that 5,000, right? And like, Iceland has a cap of like 2,000, right? And they're
Yeah.
not using all that 2,000. What Sriram is saying is that the rest of that 2,000 should go to India, basically,
To
right?
whoever needs it.
Or
Yeah.
whoever needs it, i.e., India, right? And
I'm sure India's dominating it. Yeah.
the counter argument to that, and this is something that I've been reading, and like I don't know how 100% true it is, but like it seems pretty true, is that like India basically has this industrial complex for H1Bs, right?
Okay. Yeah. Oh,
And
I know.
yeah, and so like if you like remove the country caps, then it's gonna be all Indians because
Oh,
they
100%.
they know how to game the system. They literally have professionals working in this. There's a whole industry. But the second argument that they make, which I think is kind of the more important one, is that these aren't. They're basically making an argument that these aren't highly skilled immigrants. That basically what happens is companies like lay off American workers, and the problem with H1Bs is that they're basically indentured servants, right? If the company fires them, they have to go back to India, right? And
Yeah.
so the company can force them to work for way less money for much more hours. And if you also look at the H1Bs by company, most of them are by staffing companies, not actually. It's not like Google. It's like there's a company called
Yeah.
Cognizant that has like
I know Cognizant, and yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of these Indians that are just contractors that just basically get H1Bs to do contract work where they make way less money and have way less good benefits than Google.
yeah, and so the argument people are making, and I think there's a lot of merit to this argument, which is basically like look, I mean, first of all, Donald Trump ran on America first, right? And like, if you're literally firing American workers to bring in like people from India, that's not America first. That's actually like kind of the opposite of America first. And so
It's India first.
yeah, exactly. But by the way, I just want to say one thing about the whole fucking dialogue is I just want to say this because I think it's important to mention. There's a lot of fucking racism in the conversation that I don't agree with. I don't approve of.
You don't
Like
agree with? Okay, good.
a lot of like really like get these jeets out of here, like that type of shit. Like I don't think that's productive. A, I think it's racist.
Hey, Indians feel that way about other Indians. We're not going to deny that. You know how Latinos feel about other Latinos too.
Yeah,
Like we're the most racist people.
but yeah, I mean, the interesting political side of the story is that Elon definitively lost this fight. So what happened was yesterday, Elon, David Sachs, like all of these guys went to Twitter, went to the match for this policy, and there's this woman named Laura Loomer who's kind of a crazy kooky woman, and she was pushed out of Trump world a month ago. And basically what
Oh.
she did was she took this because nobody would have known about this if it wasn't for her. And she was basically like, "Oh, Sriram, oh, I'm gonna make this to a story to get back at Elon Musk." And basically, Elon Musk got his fucking nuts cut off today. Like it's very clear that Trump world came to him and was just like, "Bro, you got to shut the fuck up." And so he tweeted some like apologetic thing today, like all the other people, and then Vivek Ramaswamy tweeted
Yeah.
something that everyone got fucking pissed off at. It was actually funny because I actually initially thought it was a smart tweet, and then I just saw all the reactions, and I was just like, I'm gonna delete my tweet that says this is smart. I completely deleted it. But
Oh,
yeah, no, I
damn,
mean,
bro.
he got roasted, but yeah, I mean, it's
So you,
interesting.
you
Like,
think Doge just fucked a little bit? Now they're all at odds with each other?
I think I mean the thing about Trump is that he likes to have competing factions in his organization fighting against each other. Like this isn't a new thing. This is something that's been happening literally for the past 10 years in Trump world. And I think that Elon
Mhm.
Musk didn't understand this because he's like a new Trump person. And the thing is that like
Yeah.
you have people like Laura Loomer who are kooks, sure, but they've been in the MAGA trenches for 10 years. So like all of the
Mhm.
online people respect her and like her. And like and so like, when it was her against Elon thought, oh, it's my platform. It's like no one gives a shit about that, man. Like you're the tech billionaire. This is our girl Laura. We're gonna go to bat with her against you. And so I think that he got kind of humbled a little bit today. Um,
So Elon wants these ultra skilled workers, or I mean, they're probably not going to be ultra skilled, but Elon supported this increase in H1B visas, or the restriction on the caps going away.
So the interesting thing about this, and this kind of why I mentioned that like this was a genius move by Laura Loomer, is there was no actual policy being proposed. Like it wasn't like anybody in Trump world came out and said we should increase the caps or we should get rid of the caps or we should increase H1Bs. It was literally like a press release that gets ignored about this one guy getting a minor advisory role, and Laura Loomer
Mhm.
turned that into a fight about H1Bs, and it wouldn't have turned into what it was if Elon Musk didn't come back and argue for H1Bs. And so he said this thing that like made sense to him, but it was very tone deaf. That he was like, America's like a sports team. You want to have the best players on your team. And like people were responding like, this isn't a sports team, bro. This is my fucking home. You know what I mean? Like you can't trade
Mhm.
me. You know what I mean? Like this is my home. My family's lived here for hundreds of years. Like what the fuck? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And like I think that like tech bros on Twitter, and I'm kind of in that community. I'm like very on the bottom of it, but like they kind of have their own echo chamber of fucking people who just keep on sucking their dick. And then when they talk to like
Yeah.
real people, they don't realize that these real people fucking hate them. You know what I mean? So Elon Musk stepped out of his world for a little bit and got his fucking anyway. Like I think the writing's starting to go on the wall for Elon because Vivek, I think, might not make it to January 20th. I legitimately
No, no
think.
way, dude.
I think
I actually
I
kind of like him. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
He
dude, I
speaks
liked
with
him
sense.
too. I liked him too, man.
Yeah.
But is Annette fucking joining?
Oh no, dude. I don't think Anek would have anything could even contribute to this conversation. Also, it's been over an hour. Yeah, like I
Yeah,
think. Also, to be fair, he's in like London time.
that's true.
And
But
he's been dealing with a lot of like he's been dealing with Indian Christmas family shit, which I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy. So like I get it. He's probably tired, you know?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But yeah, so I started talking about that because I thought it was an interesting political thing that happened because like just because of the
Yeah.
implications of like Elon Musk and Vivek because I really like Doge. I want Doge to be successful. But if they kick these people out, then
Well,
like I
so
don't
then
know.
what can Doge okay, so like most government spending is like what? Like Medicare, Medicaid, military shit, and then none of that can ever be fucking touched, basically. Like
Yeah.
left or right, people will lose their shit if you touch Medicaid or Medicare.
I I
So then
I,
like
I think the point of Doge is not really to decrease spending because you're right, like you can't really do it by cutting jobs and stuff. But like the point of it is just to
yeah.
make the country the government run more efficiently, not have so many stupid regulations, all these types of things, right? And I was kind of excited
Yeah.
for it, but like I mean, Donald Trump
Same
is gonna
here.
point somebody else to do it, but I don't think it would have been done as well as Elon and Vivek. But you know, they
Well,
really
is it well,
fucking.
you're saying it like it's completely decided that it's fucking over with Elon and Doge and all that shit. Is that
I
fully decided or no?
No, it's not fully decided at all. If Tucker Carlson weighs in on it, it's decided. But Tucker Carlson's been silent so far. Tucker
Oh,
Carlson
well,
is the
Tucker's the
ultimate.
king.
He's the ultimate Trump. I mean, he's the guy who got JD Vance as vice president.
Yeah. I read JD Vance's book actually. I kind of liked it. I'm not gonna lie, it
Did you
was a
really?
pretty good book. Elegy? Yeah, did you read it?
No.
Oh, okay. No. It was a good book. I'm not gonna lie. This is way before I knew. Like now he's fucking vice president, and he also like my parents actually told me about the book because like they're like, oh, he's married to an Indian. Like anytime there's something Indian adjacent, they'll
Yeah.
get really really excited. So they just ran a fucking really good campaign, and also just like them going on fucking Rogan, them going on Andrew Schultz, like agreeing to just basically get into new media so that young people could also be on board. Very, very fucking genius move. And then they absolutely crushed it.
I,
And
I,
like all the left was still clinging to like legacy media, CNN, all this fucking boomer shit. Kamala refused to even talk to Andrew Schultz, refused to go on like fucking Joe Rogan, unless there was like 30 minutes that was like fully controlled. And I'm like, yo, like we have like podcasts and all this shit now, all of our younger generation. Like we don't want to see any more fake fucking interviews like they did with CNN, all
I,
this
I,
shit.
I
Just
think
one.
I think the real advantage of that for him was that like it allowed you to kind of see him as a human. And when you see him
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
human and talk for like an hour or 2 hours, like he seems like a pretty reasonable guy. Like I think his best interview was actually the Theo Von one, where he was talking about his brother's
Oh,
like
not the Andrew Schultz
addictions.
one?
I mean, the Andrew Schultz one was hilarious. I loved it. But like, but
Yeah.
I think like if I wanted to send an interview to convince somebody to vote for him, it would be the Theo Von one because he was like the most.
Yeah.
Also, he talked about an executive order that I never knew about, which is something that it's weird because like I follow healthcare policy really closely, and we obviously have to
Mhm.
talk about the shooter, but like.
Oh, we'll
He
get into it.
he apparently passed an executive order like right before the election in 2020 that basically mandated that hospitals had to display their charges. And so like
Mhm.
that's one of the main things that like causes healthcare costs to be so high is that you don't know the cost of a procedure until after you fucking do it. So you're unable to price
Mhm.
shop. And so you can't really have a free market if you can't decide between pricing options, right? And so he passed an executive order, already signed it, and then Joe Biden rescinded it. And I actually had no idea
Oh.
about that. And I follow healthcare policy pretty closely. I actually follow a person. There's this
Well, is this
person.
true or do you think he was lying?
No, I looked it up. It's true. Um, and,
Oh
and, and
shit.
and so there was this person named Sarah Cliff who worked for Vox Media, which is very left wing. And like
Mhm.
I followed her closely, and she actually had an investigative journalistic piece where she was trying to get readers to send her prices for procedures at hospitals so she could have like a national map of hospital prices. And they actually threatened to sue her, so she had to stop.
Oh.
And it's weird because I remember I was reading Vox.com during that election, and they didn't run a single piece about this executive order that addressed the literal thing that one of the reporters was doing as a fucking piece. And it shows you just how crooked all of the fucking left-wing media is, right? It's literally like
Yeah.
imagine if imagine if on this channel you were like, you know, um, doing like a homeless drive or something, and like Kamala Harris did something about homelessness and I refused to cover it or something. You know what I mean? Like it'd be weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that
This executive order, it would have like mandated. You know how progressive is like if you find like an insurance rate that's cheaper, they will match that rate. Is this kind
yeah.
of an executive order that allowed you to see other like hospital prices? Or
Yeah.
what exactly? Yeah, okay, I got it. So it's like the progressive shit. So that's good. So I assume, I mean, I understand why that would make like fucking hospitals very, or why that would make healthcare executives very, very upset.
Yeah.
So
So
that people can know exactly what they're paying for.
yeah, so Joe Biden
I feel like
rescinded the
I would have heard
executive
about this
order
shit too. So Trump signed this executive order, and then why would Joe Biden rescind it? His
because
fucking dickhead.
doctors give overwhelmingly to the Democratic Party. That's the
Mm.
reason why the healthcare legislation was about insurance companies, not about medicine. And I actually think this is a good transition to the shooter because
Same year, yeah, yeah.
I
To the sexy Luigi.
so I actually have the most controversial take on this, I think. I keep on plugging more of my videos. I have a video about this, but like I think that insurance companies are the good guys in the healthcare space. I think that
Okay,
everybody
all right.
else.
Now that's a wild take.
All right, so hear me out. I'm going to convince you of this, okay? And if you're listening to
Okay, yeah.
this, you're about to be convinced. So in Obamacare, they have a provision in Obamacare, and this is this. So before I talk about the provision, this pisses me off so much because you have Democrats going on television talking about this, and Democrats who voted for this provision, who know that this exists, who are lying. But there's a provision in
Mm.
Obamacare that caps the profits of healthcare companies at 20%. Healthcare
Okay.
companies cannot take more than 20% or rather 80% has to be spent on patient care.
Patient
20%
care.
is on operations, on salaries, on everything else. 80% has to be spent paying out claims, right? So people make this argument that you have these greedy insurance companies, right? It's not greedy insurance companies, right? They literally have to spend 80% of their money on claims, right? The reason why they're denying so many claims is because healthcare is so expensive in the United States that they don't have enough money to pay for everything. And the reason why United Healthcare was denying the most amount of claims is because United Healthcare offers the cheapest healthcare insurance. So it has the least amount of
Okay,
money
I'm
to pay
looking
out
at
the
this
claim.
80-20 rule.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Okay, wait. This is gonna take me too long to fucking read this Google article. God damn it! But I mean, it seems like they're the worst people on fucking earth, right? Because I thought they had the highest rates. United Healthcare had the highest rates of claim denial of any like fucking healthcare provider.
So,
And I know
so
you. Well, you just
yeah, the reason why is because they offer the cheapest plan. So of course they're going to have the highest denial because they have the least amount. So it's kind of like I don't know the ranking for car insurance, but let's just say Geico is the cheapest and Allstate's the most expensive. Geico is going to have the
yeah.
most amount of denials because they have the least amount of money coming in. So this is why I think healthcare companies are the good guys actually, right? Because like let's take an analogy, right? Let's say me, you, and 98 other friends,
I
right?
just don't want to believe that. Like, I don't know if it's, I have not looked enough into this issue, but that's why we're the Haterade podcast. We specialize in hating, not on real fucking statistics.
So the reason why people hate healthcare companies is because they're the person who you interact with about your
Yes.
hospital bill, but they're not the person
Yeah.
responsible for the thing. You know what I mean? Like they're the person who you're talking to about that thing, right? That's why people hate them, right? But like,
So
let's
who's responsible for your claim being denied? If you like fucking get into a car crash or something, and they're like, oh no, now you have to pay for everything, even though you have fucking health insurance.
so the person responsible for it is the hospitals.
Yeah.
Which like there's one hospital CEO, I remember the statistic back in 2015, who was bringing home $52 million a year. He was the CEO of one
Oh,
hospital. One hospital, right? Like if you're the CEO of United Healthcare and making $50 million a year, a $200 billion company, that makes sense. If you're the CEO of one hospital and you're bringing home $52 million a year, that's insane. right? So hospitals are number one. So do you know what's the price of a Tylenol at a hospital? How much they charge you?
No, actually, I don't.
Ten
I get it from
dollars
CVS. Okay.
for
Just for
one
one
pill.
bottle?
One pill.
Oh, for one pill?
One pill.
Oh, what the fuck?
Okay? That's the reason why your healthcare is so expensive. The reason why your healthcare is so expensive is because you have a doctor making $600,000 a year driving a Lamborghini. That's the reason why healthcare is so expensive. It has nothing to do with the healthcare insurance companies.
So he assassinated the wrong guy then. He needs to assassinate the heads of hospitals.
Yeah, yeah, and doctors just go on a doctor killing spree. I mean, I'm not
Oh
advocating
no,
violence. I'm
dude.
just, I'm just,
Those are my cousins.
I'm just making an off color joke, but I'm not. I think political violence is completely wrong. But like,
Yeah, that's
what
what I was thinking about this Luigi guy, and like all these like liberal bitches on like fucking Instagram are posting how like he's like the fucking savior. Things are really gonna fucking change now. I'm like, I have very, very low hopes that things are really gonna change.
Yeah, and one thing that like I actually going on that tangent for a second, like I think that it kind of speaks to a huge sickness that's in Western society that like girls find this guy to be hot. Like I showed a picture of him to my girlfriend, and I was like, "Do you like this is the guy who assassinated the healthcare CEO? Do you find him hot?" And she looked at me like I asked her if she thought Adolf Hitler was hot. She was like, "Why would I find a murderer attractive?" And
Yeah, yeah.
it's like I'm living in this parallel universe because in America, like all these fucking women are so fucking crazy that they
Yeah,
find
dude, these bitches are like, oh, I love fucking Ted Bundy and fucking Jeffrey Dahmer. They're all so hot and shit.
yeah, but
They need some trauma in their life. They need something. They're like, okay, now like maybe this guy will murder. Now I'm gonna be scared of serial killers. So maybe
well,
they'll murder me, but then they have this like repressed attraction to someone that will do something so heinous because they don't see real fucking shit. Because your girl escaped the fucking dictatorship.
can,
So she's like, no, no, I'm
can,
good. No more murder, please. I've seen
can
enough.
I say one last thing about healthcare CEOs that's positive
Yeah,
about
go
them
ahead, go ahead.
and why I think that they are the true
Oh yeah, what's
heroes?
positive about the healthcare CEOs? So what do you think of Brian Thompson? Okay, say this and then we'll get into Brian Thompson.
Yeah, so let's just like give kind of an analogy, right? Let's say me, you, and 98 of our friends basically create our own private health insurance company with us 100, right? Which is
Yeah,
basically no one paid premiums, but we basically signed a contract that said we would pay for each other's medical bills, right? And when signing this contract, we listed out 15 procedures that we'd pay for, right? This goes to the whole claims denial thing, right? And so we listed out 15 procedures that we pay for, and we said, VJ, here are the 15 procedures. We'll pay you a little bit of money to be the arbiter, but you're the one who decides, right? When somebody goes to a hospital and asks the rest of us to pay for it, whether or not we should pay for it, right? Okay, let's say one of those procedures is breaking a leg, but breaking an arm is not on the list, right? And somebody
yeah,
breaks their arm, right? And they go to you and they say, hey, I broke my arm. And you're like, well, breaking a leg is on the list, but breaking an arm is not, right? And they're like, you're such a bad person. You denied my health insurance, right? You're like, look, my job is not to give you health insurance. My job is to protect the money of the other 99 people in the system. My job is to make sure that
mhm,
all these other people don't have to pay for stuff that they didn't agree to because they all signed a contract that when I tell them to pay for something, they're going to do it, right? The reason why health insurance claim denials are a good thing, again, with the law that stipulates that 80% has to be spent on patient care, is because the money that they're not spending on your procedure is being spent on someone else's procedure. What health
mhm.
insurance companies are doing is trying to find a way to have the most amount of benefit for their customers with the most taking this money and using the most efficient way to give the most amount of benefit to the most amount of people. The people whose claims are being denied are the ones who are like the incredibly expensive ones that are in the gray area whether they qualify. Because again, when you sign an insurance contract, it stipulates just like our fake contract does what they will cover
Yeah.
and what they won't, right? So
I'm
if
sure they're
it,
not reading that shit. Yeah, no one's reading that fucking contract.
sure,
Not
but
like
like
an average person.
Sure, but if you're not, then like you can't blame the insurance company at that point. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
I think they still do. I think they
yeah,
still are. That's
yeah,
the issue that we're getting into.
yeah. But I
So
think the
you're
health
saying
insurance
that
companies are
all these
good
people that
guys.
got denied, do they purposely make gray areas so that they can deny more people, though?
But here's the thing, with the discourse, and again, the important thing to remember is that 80% of the money has to go to patient care. It has to go to patient care, right? So like, they're not doing it to make more money. They're doing it to spend that money on other patient care. They're they're denying you a $50,000 treatment because they know that instead of that $50,000 treatment, they can pay for 10 $5,000 treatments for 10 other people. And that money
Mhm.
is more efficiently spent in those ways. That's why they're doing it.
God damn it, I need to research this fucking more.
Yeah, dude, I'm
Because
very
I
pro health
like,
insurance companies. They
yeah, no,
are
I
the
mean, none
real
of these
heroes.
retards that I'm talking to look this up either.
Yeah, I have no problem with retards saying this, but like when,
Well, so this is part of fucking Obamacare
yeah, it's part of Obamacare.
to
When people
spend
who
at least
literally,
80% of premium income on healthcare costs and quality improvement. The remaining 20% can be used for administrative marketing and profit.
yep,
Why am I reading this and I still don't trust it? I trust that there's some fucking way they're getting way more. I don't trust that 80% of all insurance income is actually spent on healthcare costs.
I mean, okay, here's my caveat to all of this. If anybody can prove to me, and by the way, I've actually had back and forths with journalists on Twitter. I called a guy at Mother Jones a fucking liar, and he came back at me. We went back and forth, and I said, if you can prove to me that these insurance companies are not spending 80% of their income of the premiums on patient care, I completely agree with you. They should be thrown in prison because they broke the fucking law. But if you can't prove that, if there's no proof that they're doing it, if you're not even asserting it, because no one's even asserting that fact.
I've
Because
never heard of this until you told me. I'm not gonna lie.
exactly,
Like I
exactly.
never heard about this at
The
all.
Democrats, and it's literally Democrats who wrote the fucking bill are doing this. Chris Murphy put out a video about this. Chris Murphy helped write Obamacare. He put that provision in the bill. And he's like, well, these people are trying to maximize their profits. Like, you should know better, but they're lying. They're liars. That's my little
What
rant.
was this fucking? Wasn't this like some like Penn fucking computer science guy? This Luigi guy. What does
Yeah.
he even think? I'm not gonna read this cuck's manifesto.
So he actually so a lot of the story about him is actually like incorrectly reported. Like people basically said that he got like a serious back injury and his claim got denied by United Healthcare, and that's why he decided to do it. Turns out,
No, I looked up that he just happened to have back issues,
yeah,
but I don't know if you denied him.
but like he got back surgery. It actually like fixed the problem. Well, what happened is he went to Peru and he got one-shotted by ayahuasca and he just went fucking crazy. Like people don't do
Oh, you
ayahuasca.
think so?
Yeah, it was a
Oh,
fucking
dude, I
like
thought ayahuasca was a good thing. God damn it. Maybe I'm not gonna do it then.
it was a fucking
Have you
Mesopotamic demon lord who fucking fried his brain.
wait, have you ever tried it or no? Because you've been in the region, right?
I've never done ayahuasca. I mean, I don't really feel like doing hallucinogens, and also like ayahuasca. There are a couple of drugs that I stay
That's
away
next
from,
level.
and ayahuasca, like the typical story you hear about ayahuasca is you have this like person like a boring desk job, be like some like social media manager who goes does ayahuasca and then fucking like joins a cult or some shit. That's I don't want to
And
fuck with
then
that
you
shit.
vomit for like 8 hours.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
vomit for like the whole time, and then you have some cleanse. No, I've had people that I respect do ayahuasca actually,
yeah. I
but
mean,
now I'm not.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It's just I don't feel like taking that risk personally. It's just, for
Oh,
me,
so
it's not worth it.
Luigi did ayahuasca?
That's what I read. I mean, it might have been wrong, but that's what I read. Is it said he did like an ayahuasca trip, became super like withdrawn and shit, and then like his friends were like, I didn't talk to him in like 3 months or something, and then he fucking did this shit.
I think he just wanted some excuse to like I mean like maybe like the show Dexter where he like wants to kill people but he only kills the bad people. I think
Yeah.
that's how he was feeling. He's like, "Oh, I have a murderous rage and now I'm going to find someone who has a good reason to die that probably shouldn't have even been killed in the first place."
Dude, that's
So
literally
wait, so
like
did
any
you read
like
about
violent
Brian
person.
Thompson too?
Dude,
Yeah, yeah. Like I
the funny thing about it is that so Luigi was a fucking spoiled brat trust fund kid who went to one of the most
yeah.
expensive private high schools in America, went to Penn, got a fucking desk job where he was fucking, he was fucking like writing JavaScript. He should have been replaced by the Indian H1B, to be honest with you. And
Oh,
then
dude, Elon could have saved him, man.
and then you have Brian
Wait, let me.
Thompson.
I think I found him on LinkedIn. Let me try to find it. Luigi Mangione. Oh,
And
he worked at, like TrueCar or some shit.
and then you have
So he had a very basic ass fucking job. He's a data engineer. So he's not even a full fucking like software engineer.
yeah.
He's in data science.
And Brian
Let's see.
Thompson
Yeah.
was from like the boonies in Iowa, fucking like raised on a farm, like went to some state school and then worked his way up to like being the
Yeah.
CEO of a giant healthcare company. And like the left loves the fucking privileged rich kid who murdered him. Because the left now is all full of privileged rich kids. You know what I mean? Like the left right now is just fucking
Yeah, but
San
they're
Francisco,
technically the
LA.
minority.
What? Yeah,
They're,
privileged.
they're kind of the minority of who's
That's
in
true.
America.
Privileged rich kids are the minority right now. So, pour one out for them.
Actually, I take that back. Luigi was a real engineer. I looked at some of the shit that, at least on LinkedIn, but that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that he has the right to murder.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
did he even do it? Did you hear about like him being the fall guy?
yeah, I mean, I heard that. Apparently, like I saw one thing that was like he was obsessed with the number like 246 or something, and like the McDonald's that he was arrested at was exactly like 246 miles away from like New York City, and then like he had like 246 and like other things and shit. Like I mean like if he could prove that it wasn't him, obviously like I wouldn't say that he's a bad person because he obviously didn't kill the person, but like if he gets not guilty because people think he's hot, then I think that that's really bad. I mean, I
That's kind
mean,
of how the world works sometimes, dude. None of
yeah,
these hot women are out here murdering people, except their
that's true.
husbands.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Wait, did you see that girl who shot up a school?
Oh, was it like the first? Oh, is it like the girl went trans and shut up a school?
No, no, she wasn't even trans, I don't think. She was like a
Oh,
straight fucking femcel, apparently, who had a boyfriend, which shows like
oh
what
no way. She
femcel
couldn't
is.
get dick or no?
No, she
Say
could
it
get
again.
dick. Femcells,
Oh,
femcells don't refer to girls who don't get dick because every girl can get dick. Even ugly fat girls can get dick.
even
So,
yeah, even ugly fat girls. Wait, but then what's her issue then?
there was this like Twitter account that like she like mentioned. It was like Red Pill Femme or something like that. Like she was like in like a radical like feminist movement or something. Like I mean I think that like I think in general in the media, people like look into these people's motives way too much. These are fucking like murderers. These are fucking like lunatics. Like they
Crazy people,
they
yeah.
look for some reason to justify. By the way, what one of the people on the right pointed out that I find interesting was that this is the first shooting that no one called for gun control after. Like
Oh,
when
dude, this is true equality now. Women are becoming mass shooters too. Wait, when did this happen? I honestly hadn't heard about a school shooting in a long time. But
yeah,
also, us not talking about school shootings and putting on the media, there are rules for mentioning suicide in the media. Because
yeah.
if you mention someone did a suicide immediately, like the likelihood of other people following in the footsteps right afterwards increases exponentially. And they weren't doing that for school shootings for a while. But
Can,
it seems like now I hear about school shootings.
can I tell you my controversial opinion about school shootings? I've already given
Yeah,
enough
oh, they're a
controversial
good thing. Yeah,
opinions,
school.
but um
Yeah, what is this one? A good thing?
no, no. But I guess the way I would say it is I don't think they're as bad of a thing as people think. And the reason for this is because like I was thinking about this the other day, like I was watching Zodiac. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah, I've seen the movie with Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, and then like so I don't like true crime docs because I just don't like being in that headspace. But like for some reason for a week I just
Same.
watched a bunch of them and I was like and I actually I saw a graph that proved this. Like we don't see serial killers anymore. Like we don't see Zodiacs, we don't see, Jeffrey Dahmer, we don't see these types of people anymore, right?
Well, there's cameras everywhere now.
Well, basically what happened is that mass shooters have replaced the serial killers. Pe-
Yeah,
People used to go and kill like 30, 40 people over the course of years. Now it's one guy
yeah.
going and killing seven people. And like,
So you're saying the amount of deaths from those people has actually decreased because serial killers can't kill for as long a period of time?
so I again, I would never argue that mass shootings are a good thing. Like I'm not gonna argue that.
Yo, it's all right.
What I am going to argue is that there's always been a phenomenon. But like the thing about America is very much a win or lose society, and there's always been a phenomenon in
Oh yeah.
America of people who are at the bottom of the food chain, like getting angry, specifically men, and trying to kill people. And
Mhm.
this phenomenon used to be serial killers and now it's mass shooters. I don't think I'm all I'm saying is I don't think the mass shooting phenomenon is anything new. I think it's just a different version of this thing that we've seen for a long time, basically. And like and like look at Luigi, like, for 99.9% of people on planet Earth, being a data, having his job is a really good job. But think about how much of a loser he must have felt like, right? Like
Yeah.
he went like his family are multimillionaires. He went to the most one of the most expensive private schools in America. He went to Penn, and he's just a fucking
Yeah.
code monkey at a fucking startup. You know what I mean? Like all of his friends are probably multimillionaires, starting their own companies, doing all this shit. People in finance making hundreds of millions of dollars. He's bringing home like probably like $200,000 a year, a good fucking paycheck. But it's like he
Dude,
feels like a
yeah.
loser
That's
compared to
not so
everybody else.
bad.
You know what I mean? And so like I think that
He
that's
went through a
what it was.
similar life trajectory that I did, but I don't feel like killing anybody.
And by the way, like I actually find this to be an interesting phenomenon. I've pointed this out a lot of times. If you look at like the communist leaders throughout history, like this is true of Marx, this is true of Mao, this is true of Lenin, this is true of Castro, this is true of pretty much everybody. All of them were like the bottom of the upper class. They were all rich
Oh,
kids who were fuck ups, right? And
okay,
they
got
decided to become like dictators, basically. Lenin's dad was insanely wealthy. Pol Pot's dad was insanely wealthy. Mao's dad was insanely. All these guys' dads were insanely wealthy. Um,
it.
they were just, the losers of the upper class, basically. The losers of the
Yeah,
lower.
yeah, man. I still have more respect for fucking stock. Well, obviously this guy's a cuck, but like all those finance people making hundreds of millions of dollars, like at least as a software engineer, you know how to do something. Like
Yeah,
fuck all these finance people, in my opinion. But that's why I became a software engineer anyway.
because you love building stuff, the love of the
No, I
game.
just like I can't just sit there and like talk about like I don't want to just get into private equity and strip companies for fucking parts and shit.
Yeah,
Also, software engineering gets you freedom. Seems like this guy's just kind of a fucking cuck, dude.
yeah.
Like I feel like
It
as
seems
a
easy
software
cuck.
engineer, yeah. And like as a software engineer, you kind of like we don't have to work nearly as many hours. We have freedom. We can work from anywhere. You can make good money anywhere you fucking go. And then he's still I don't know what else do you fucking want?
Do you think he's gonna get convicted?
Yeah, I mean, if there's overwhelming, isn't there like overwhelming evidence against him?
Yeah, but I mean,
He
like,
might get a lighter sentence because he's hot. I guess I don't know, dude.
but here's the thing:
I don't think he's that hot personally.
you just need
He's not my type.
you just need a one liberal wacko on the jury, and it's gonna be a hung jury.
Oh, dude, you just need one nose ring feminist that's like, oh
Yeah,
my God, I haven't got a dick in a while. He's so sexy.
yeah.
Let me see what he looks like. I'm curious. Okay, Luigi, because I've heard a lot of people say that he was hot. He was just a good fucking nerd. Yeah, he's all right. He's got a nice body. No homo. No, it's getting pretty gay. All right, before we get too gay, uh,
D
yeah,
d
honestly,
d
fuck this guy, dude. I'm so sick of this fucking guy. I'm sick of my Instagram being filled with like some of my fucking friends are just like, oh my God, like he did a good thing. And then they're like, oh, but if like a brown guy killed him, he'd be in like fucking Guantanamo Bay. I'm like, yeah, especially if he's ugly.
this is
So get fucking jacked. That's
dude.
the goal.
It's just honestly um I like have conversations I have some conversations with people from back home, and I'm just like the way that I've changed my thinking of just not being in this New York SFLA bubble is just
LA.
so fucking different. Like people will say shit to me, like racial shit or whatever. Like I think it's like, because in New York, LA, and SF, like there's certain things you say they're like a magic spell. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, like you need to check your privilege. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like, and I'm just like, that doesn't fucking work with me, man. I fucking live in fucking Paraguay. I fucking speak Spanish, bro. Like,
No, like I'm in the bubbles right now to accomplish it. Also, like, dude, being like a guy in New York is like compared to the other liberal bubbles, it's definitely the best you can hope for. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But once I'm like fully settled, I'm getting the fuck out of this shithole. That's for sure.
dude,
And I'm
come
moving
to
to fucking
Paraguay,
Mississippi. Yeah, I
dude,
mean, I don't know about Paraguay, dude. I don't even know Espanol.
dude. The streets are paved with pussy here.
Yeah, I know.
I,
All right,
I,
we'll discuss my fucking trip to South America
I,
soon.
I, I
To
think
Paraguay?
so.
Do they
So
like Indian?
you should move. So what I tell people, Paraguay is the worst place to visit, is the best place to move to. But I got like, I think I got 20 Tinder matches my first day here. 20. Like,
You're white.
yeah, but dude, so many people in Paraguay
Are
are
you in Asuncion or where are you at?
Asuncion. Like, it's 50% of the population lives in Asuncion. I'm in like
Is
the
that where
bougie
you live?
place. Yeah.
What's your place called? I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna Google Street View it.
Villa Mora, Villamora.
Oh, okay, yeah, I found it. This is the bougie place?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just Google Street Viewing somewhere random. Oh, I don't even have access to all the streets. God damn it. This is why I live in America. I want to see where everything is. Oh, actually, no, it does look pretty nice. Yeah, it looks nice. Do you have to drive everywhere?
Dude, Uber literally like, so we go to like the river on the other side of the city a lot, and literally going
Yeah.
from one side of the city to the other in Uber is like $2.
I hate spending so much. All
Dude,
right, dude,
it's
we'll,
two
we'll
bucks
discuss
is
this
what I'm saying.
more.
But
Okay, we'll discuss the trip soon, okay?
yeah.
All right, I'm getting kind of fucking tired now. I'm not gonna lie.
No, dude,
Like
I'm
this,
getting tired
I'm not gonna lie,
also.
dude. Like I thought this should be a funnier podcast. I think we both just needed to vent. That's what it
Yeah.
sounded like.
No, dude,
We didn't crack as many jokes as I would have wanted.
I think it was intense and interesting. My girlfriend's been yelling at me to get off the phone for like 20 minutes. So I'm down to
Yeah.
dip. But like, is there anything that like we should have covered that we didn't? Is there anything top of mind that they want to get off your
Man,
chest?
I wish we could have heard some of fucking next Christmas stories. Like we like I could we could have talked more about the election and all the strategy because I know more about America than I do about like the Iranian and Pol Pot. But whatever, we can get into that later.
Oh,
There's gonna be 10 more things that happen, I'm sure, by the next podcast.
I actually have a funny story that we can end on if you
Yeah,
want. So,
tell it.
my girlfriend and I, like, we we use both, like, we use a lot of degrading language to each other. Let's just say this, as jokes,
Yeah, yeah,
obviously.
I love that shit.
But we also have a lot of like positive language as well, right? And so, just so you know, so like, the word bitch means female dog, right? But like
Puta.
in perra. So in Spanish, there's no way of referring to a dog that is female without calling her a bitch, right? Because all words are
Yeah,
gendered, right? So like, every time you refer to a female, so our dog is a female dog, right? So whenever I say the dog, I have to say the bitch, right? Anyway,
yeah.
that's just some context. So, one thing that we say to each other is like, I'll call her a puta, she'll call me coño, I'll call her perra, she'll call me, a bunch of other shit. Anyway, so whenever I do, she'll tell me respeta tu esposa, which means like respect your wife. Like don't say this type of shit to
Yeah.
me. And I'll say no. And it's like, a joke, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Anyway.
fine. Sounds like a
So
great relationship.
great relationship. Honestly, like one plug, if anybody's thinking about becoming a passport bro, Just fucking do it. Your life is gonna be so much better. We'll talk about it some other episode. But anyway,
Yeah.
we're laying in bed, and I was like being like really like genuine and being nice. And I was like, man, I really love my life down here. I have a great living in a great, neighborhood, great life, great apartment, I have a, great, amazing, beautiful girlfriend. And then I said, I also have an amazing dog, right? And I said, y también tengo un genial perra. And and she was like, respeta tu esposa. And I was like, no, I was literally talking about our dog.
About
Because
the dog. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I get it. I
because
get
she
it.
thought I was she thought I was calling
Talking
her a
about
bitch
her. I got
jokingly.
you. I
Yeah.
got you. No. That is a good story, dude. Hopefully I can call my girlfriend a cunt. That's that's gonna be the next goal someday.
I'm pretty sure if there was a Spanish version for cunt, I could call her that. But anyway,
Oh, hell
you're coming to South America. You're visiting Medellin. You're visiting
yeah.
Rio de Janeiro. You're visiting
Heal, heal.
me in
I'll
Bariloche.
come to Paraguay. Yeah, I'll come see you guys in Paraguay or
Oh no,
Argentina,
we're leaving
whatever.
in January, but we're going to Argentina.
Oh, okay,
So
yeah.
yeah,
All
but
right,
yeah,
we'll figure it out, dude. We'll figure
yeah.
the whole thing out.
I'll stop
All right.
recording. Great.